I don't know about you, but I love inspiring people and inspiring things. Last night, just before 10 o'clock, my wife and I returned from a week in France, and the highlight was standing on the beach, the Omaha beach, and at low tide, looking at those cliffs and trying to visualize that day when the U.S. troops hit the beach and began to take back Europe for Western civilization. And we are still benefiting from that today. That generation is often called the greatest generation. And when I think about coming here in 1994, there were a number of California Southern Baptists that were here that are part of what I consider the greatest California Southern Baptist generation. And that's that group that came out in the late 40s and 50s and really hit the beach. They were pioneers. I like to refer to them as California Southern Baptist pioneers. They were that generation that answered the call to go west and plant a flag and establish. They didn't just come to conquer and leave, they came to live and be a part and be salt and light. Glen and Alene were the epitome of that generation. I had the privilege when I first came out to meet him and get to know him a fair amount and learn more about his ministry. But that generation is fading away. They are going to be with the Lord now. And it is, I would encourage the new generation that's coming up, the ones who are students here, the ones younger than me, which is now just about everybody. When I came here, I kind of joke, I was 38, and back in 94, you can do the math, and I was one of the youngest, messengers at the state convention. 24 years later, I'm a little bit older and sometimes still the youngest, but but you have, I would hope for the younger generation that when you look at what's going on today and you reflect on the life and times and legacy of the Padens and their generation, that you wouldn't see it as a burden, but that you would see it as inspiration, because that's really what it's about. We're in our leg of the race of this passing the baton, those of us in my generation now. And I want you to know, I'm not saying there aren't hard days, but it's a joy to run it. And as I look back to those who ran the legs before me, I'm grateful and to carry that legacy and the principles that they had. But we run today hard. And we run with our eyes on Christ. But we're ever present is knowing that sooner than we can imagine, we'll be passing that baton to you. And I hope that you will run as they did, as we do, and that you will also realize as you grab it that only too soon you'll be passing it on. So run with inspiration. I want to thank Gary so much, because as Phil so eloquently stated, there are those of us who are in administration in institutions, and not that we need a lot of sympathy, but I will tell you, we have a vantage point where we are so aware of the possibilities, not only the needs, but the possibilities. And we need people like you to push us and to say, I see this, and it's not just that you want to tell us how to do a better job. We get a little bit of that, a lot of ideas, but to say, I want to be a part of making something good happen and something that's going to be sustainable and something that's bigger than us and it's going to outlive all of us. So let me just read a statement from this. This was beginning to be funded, was funded in May of 2017. And this endowed professorship has been made possible through the generous gifts provided by Gary McDonald and the Baptist Foundation of California, as well as matching money. That's kind of a little bit of a unique program here. The CBU Board of Trustees approved endowment gift matching program. That's been in place about 3 years, and it's really been a wonderful program. The formal language used to establish the endowed professorship is as follows. My arms need to get longer as I get older. This fund is for the creation of an additional full-time professor in the School of Christian Ministries. The professor shall have an established record of excellence in teaching, leadership, and/or publishing. The professor's role will include, but not be limited to, some combination of the following: teaching, writing, research, service, enhancing community among and investing in students, and active relationships with leadership and faculty. The professor shall be in agreement with the Baptist Faith and Message 2000. The professor's beliefs and teaching shall be consistent with historic Christian faith, including the inerrancy of Scripture. The professor shall be an active member of a Southern Baptist church. The purpose of the endowed professorship is to create an additional professor as an enhancement to the university's faculty and not to fund current faculty positions or future replacements of those positions. Very insightful, very important undertaking that is represented by this endowment.